Well, hello, that's me again. Today is December 21st, 2024. It's Saturday, and first, before I forget, I am back to my standard microphone. I don't know if you see it. You see that? So I don't think so. There should be any more complaints about any kind of the interferences and buzzing sounds and what have you. So that's important. What you see in the beginning is a response by Zelensky and his curators from Washington and London, attacking, Russian civilian apartment blocks. That's very good at that, make no mistake. And this is all related to the fact that Russians got SBU, or one of the what is called operational centers. What you see in the originally in the photos, allegedly the building of some kind of the SBU, it's not really SBU. It's most likely the result of the fall of the one of those air defense missiles, which usually don't hit anything, especially when some hypersonic things fly in. So that's what you see. However, apart from this apartment building in Kazan, which was attacked by some long-range drone, here is another, for example, illustration of what basically Western NATO militaries are good at: starting fires, killing women, children, fighting real war. Not so much. This is what it is. So, what can I say about this? The issue will continue to be, so to speak, at the forefront, if you wish, of proceedings until Mr. Trump, should maybe get the office on the January 20th. But as already have been stated by Mr. Trump, and well, it's Financial Times. We have to keep in mind that this is run by all kinds of the human trash, from Great Britain and or United Kingdom and including United States. Some of the chief editors, like The Economist, they are the products of the degree mills from Ivy League. So they allegedly state that, which I totally can believe, that Mr. Trump is will continue, as you can see yourself, this is delightful Ukrainian press, Euromaidan, whatever that is, that in accordance to Financial Times, Trump plans to maintain U.S. military aid to Ukraine after inauguration. And so they referred here to what Financial Times says, which is, could be true, could be not true, but I lean towards this being true, that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump intends to continue sending American weapons to Ukraine once he takes office, Financial Times reports, citing its own sources. Well, I want to again reiterate, this is Financial Times, so for London elite, lying is the natural thing, and so they do it for their own personal gain, and but still they might be true, they could be true, because I am on record, and you can go and take a look at all my writing prior to the US presidential election and after that, that nothing really gonna change much with Trump administration, and if it's going to change, it is going to change by the virtue of the fact that United States have been essentially hollowed out in terms of military equipment. The United States can continue to send out all those useless weapons, such as the Patriot Pack 3, or they might send more, whatever is remaining, stock of the Abrams tanks, or maybe some, why don't they try to send F-35? So, but it's not going to change outcome whatsoever, or what has already happened in Ukraine, or the former Ukraine, but it certainly fits the Trump's profile. And this is where I want to get you to very interesting thing, which we have to pay attention to this. And this is absolutely true, because if you go and listen to our conversation, Garland and Scott Ritter and I, a couple days ago, you will hear that Scott correctly states, which many people, and I wrote about it, but professionals of all kinds of the military and intel backgrounds, Larry Johnson says this, that Russians have pretty damn good psychologists, okay, and psychiatrists who look at all those people in the Western elites, political elites, and they already have their very good psychological portrait. And obviously, they operate based on this portrait, and very often this portrait is very, very precise, to put it mildly. Unlike it is the case with this bunch of the morons who run in the Western media and politicum, who misjudge things constantly because they are morons. It's Dunning-Kruger effect. You cannot explain average Western politician that he is moron because he is a moron. And, well, people with no morals whatsoever, like Sarah Wagenknecht, who is now obviously calls Russians, and special military operations aggression, and Putin is a thug, in accordance to her. So there you go, the prostitution is a normal, natural thing for most politicians in the West. But if we go to George Galloway, interesting conversation with Katie Halper, and it was yesterday, and while she definitely says what we pretty much know all of that Trump doesn't drain the swamp, he is essentially also the swamp creature. He just, it's a little bit different angle, so to speak, at how the United States will continue to be, trying to be a bully, while being already kind of shown that they are bullies, nothing more. It doesn't have real power, real force, so to speak, to pretend that it's the hegemon or the finest fighting force in history. She makes an extraordinarily important point. And this point is that if you go to the Biden administration, for example, you know what? Some people say they're just downright Satanists, which I can totally believe. But you look at those people, and Mr. Putin actually himself stated when this is for those people who suffer from utter, anti-Semitism, that essentially those people, they don't have any faith in anything. They are not, they don't have in the Jewish or Judaic God, or they don't have religion of Islam or Christianity or whatever. They are just, they are godless creatures. And so you cannot talk to them. You cannot talk to, for example, Mr. Blinken, or you cannot talk, for example, to Jake Sullivan, because those people have no consciousness. They are also utterly incompetent and illiterate. But what is important when she talks about the Trump administration, and I entirely agree with her, that Trump, being narcissist, which he is, he's self-centered, he is absolutely, narcissist. He lives in this glow of his perceived own personality, that at some point of time, depending on the inputs and his dopamine, so to speak, rush, which creates him the happiness and satisfaction with himself, that he could be manipulated in a good sense, to forego all those very few principles he has, and to do something which makes common sense. Because he will be doing this not because of the common sense or the goodness of the thing. He will be doing this to satisfy his desire to be admired. And that's what is one of the main drivers behind him doing what he is doing. And again, nobody says that he is moron. He's definitely a pretty astute guy. But yeah, anybody who thinks that Trump there is to drain swamp, I have a bridge to sell you. So I will leave the 1-800 number, and so you can transfer money, whatever the funds, for my personal benefit and gain, so. And that is what has to be basically kept in mind when we talk about if something can change. And other than that, Keith Kellogg coming and, let's say, talking to Surovikin, he will be laughed at as an amateur, So, those people, they do not live in the real world. But there is, how to say it, the whole other, dimension, if you wish. And so we have now these people, that's economists, that's London. This is people who, as I already stated, it's human trash, it's excrement, all of them. And so they, do this podcast that about that NATO is braced for Russian aggression and American indifference. So they are already panicking there, of course, that Mr. Trump might do something which Europeans, or especially British, who are chihuahuas, do not like. So, and yeah, absolutely, it's absolutely could happen, in this respect. But look at this. We have the other thing which is happening now. We have the Germany, factoring into this pretty much panicky mode, if you wish. And suddenly we have this situation with Mr. Scholz, or as Mr. Musk calls him, incompetent fool, which he is. So, and again, there are no normal politicians in Germany, none, zero. And so they talk about, as you can see yourself, Spiegel, that because Spiegel and all those German, Goebbelsonian propaganda, they are all, Nazis in not in form but in their essence, and so they worried about that this cretin Scholz will be, removed from power. So they say that Union spheres, the CDU, the Christian Democratic Union, which is for some reason called they are a conservative party, they are not a globalist party, neoliberal one, and Germans will elect either of them. So Germany, I already written it off. I understand there are many German friends who watch this and I understand how it hurts, but Germany is done. It's over for Germany. It could be over for Germans as a nation. So here they are. They are afraid of this, early election, which have been called by Scholz. And 2 months before the election, there is not much certainty of victory among the conservatives. Well, they're not conservative, okay, they are BSs. But still, some fear that Chancellor Scholz could land another surprise coup. And this was written, as you can see yourself, in Spiegel yesterday. And what coup are they talking about? Well, they're talking about the coup, which is, of course, look at this. Somebody's heard that he is willing to go to Moscow in February with some peace plan. That tells you everything that the degree of the depravity and pathetic level of the German politician if they think that this coup and this magic rabbit as they call them, call this in Germany, well, somehow Scholz goes to Russia and talks about peace plans and then improves his chances on winning the chancellorship again and all that. It's just such a castle of the midgets, Lilliputs and clowns. As I already stated, Sarah Wagenknecht showed herself a very good prostitute, political prostitute, so she already changed her tune because she's got a shot at a chancellorship. So yeah, as I already stated, there are no normal people there. And so Kremlin obviously says, what, we have no freaking plans to meet the guy. No, there are no such plans. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told newspaper Vedomosti on Friday when asked about the rumored visit. Yeah, you cannot visit just because you want to fly in Moscow and meet Putin. Doesn't work like this. I mean, you are talking about the basically head of the superpower, nuclear superpower, which is, much larger economy than Germany and France combined. And now somehow this, basically puppet, Scholz, flies to Kremlin and talks to Putin. No, it is impossible. And so here the Kremlin addressed this thing, that speculations about possible trip to the Russian capital by Scholz first suffers in Germany's Christian Democratic Union, Circus, of which Spiegel wrote. What can I say? I mean, this is a circus. I mean, a complete circus. And there is a circus generally in Europe, which is not democratic. Anybody who tries to push this narrative that there's some kind of democracy in Europe. Oh, please spare me this pain, really, to reacting to this. These are totalitarian states which are run by neoliberal cliques. And just to demonstrate to you also, and I understand it's kind of mixed bag today, but I will address it. I will address also the military part of it, which most people wait from me. But you see that with the under present conditions, I have to constantly be also in the political commentator mode. But here it is. Look at this. This mighty Canada. You can see yourself. Yeah, the Canadian Armed Forces have deployed gender advisors to such conflict zones as Ukraine and Haiti. A recent internal report has revealed. Yeah, the deployment were part of the Department of National Defense military cooperation program, which primarily provides advice and assistance to non-NATO countries. So gender advisors and gender focal points people, they provide this advice. Russians welcome, for example, that Canadian military can provide this thing to already pretty much screwed up Ukrainian military, whatever is left of it. And yeah, I think so that's going to benefit Ukrainian military, that's for sure. But what can I say? Sometimes you are lost for words trying to actually even comment on that. It's just like, what the hell, man? This is just absolute absurdity. This is not even Monty Python absurdity. This is something completely different level. But what can I say? Mighty Canada has its own ways. I mean, it loves its Nazis. You know, it elects Nazis. And so, well, there you go. So this is what happened to the Western world. The only thing they know how to is to how, well, for some reason people think that it's a professional quality, while in reality it's complete moral decomposition. Or for example, MI6, killing people, children, raping women. That's pretty much what they're good at. And yeah, supporting terrorism, that's the big time. They don't fight real wars. They don't like real wars. That is why when you read this clownish piece from Spectator, it's like, good lord. So Spectator writes today that obviously, as we know, mighty United Kingdom and its incredible army, which can barely collect any kind of the semblance of a motor rifle brigade and has about zero experience with anything modern warfare related, they're talking is training troops in Ukraine a risk worth taking, because they talk about this John Healy dude who said that, oh yeah, we're gonna support, Ukraine, we're gonna send advisors. Well, at this stage, as I already stated, even those people in the armed forces of Ukraine, whatever is left of them, who survived more than 2 weeks on the battlefield, they can go and teach any British general how to fight war. So, well, they will send advisors. And now this guy, Elon Wilson, he writes that, Defense Secretary John Healy has raised the possibility that British military personnel could be deployed to Ukraine to carry out training missions. On a visit to Kyiv this week, he spoke about 5-point plan for increasing the United Kingdom's support for its beleaguered ally. One aspect of which would be to make the training a better fit for what Ukrainians need. So, first, you have to understand, not a single British military person, ranging from some grunt to any kind of the general, understand what will fit. They do not understand. It's just not there. Military culture is not there. UK military education training is a joke. And as I already stated, they are good only at, fighting peaceful people, defenseless people. They might try again, just fighting, somewhere in the Northern Ireland. That's probably they are good at. It's probably the level of the medium to low level police operations. So, but war, no, they're not. They, and again, as I already stated, Sandhurst is a joke of the military education and preparing real officers for the wars of not only the 21st century, even in the wars of the late 20th century, they are not prepared to fight them, but they are afraid, which is like really just absolutely fascinating. They are afraid that the advisors may encounter, or they say clash between British army, British help army. This is the first time I heard this. British army and Russian army. It's all semantics. It's all Orwellian world of the BS essentially, and two or three mutually contradicting things simultaneously. It's about that United Kingdom doesn't have army. What it has, barely one brigade or motor rifle brigade, and even that is not combat ready. So if they think that there will be clash with Russian army, whatever UK army is, it will be done in about a week, maybe two, if it faces Russian army. After that, they will be, just running in the forest, trying to capture, whatever they will be running, those people, trying to surrender and get those wounded and get them into a Russian rear to provide them with the medical care, because Russians, Russians fight honorably, unlike it is the case with MI6 and whatever those military specialists from United Kingdom are, So, and this is absolute circus. I mean, it's complete media, political, military circus. And while circus it is, we need to keep in mind what is another thing which has to be addressed, and this is just to underscore it. And when people say that, when I say that United States, I'm not talking about Europe, it's not even a factor anymore, that United States lost the arms race. I'm not BSing you, I'm not exaggerating. This is not a hyperbole. This is not a figure of speech. Let me show you. Mr. Musk, no less, and what's the name? The Indian guy, he is pretty smart actually. Department of the Government Efficiency. When you look at this, it just, what the hell, man? So what does the US government use taxpayers' dollars for? For example, 6.9 million studying smart toilets that recognize the user's anal print. There you go. That's the very important, so to speak, development and, R&D. And for example, first, it's absolutely those people who do this, they just have no freaking human qualities in them. 2.3 million for the inject dogs with cocaine. Why? Why dogs should suffer? And then, of course, 118,000 to study a metal replica robot of Marvel Comics, Thanos, if it could really snap his fingers. So, as you can see yourself, with priorities like that, there is no basically secret anymore why the United States lost the arms race, and it lost it by a mile. I am on the record. You can quote me. You can quote me to any goddamn Pentagon official, and they can try to debate me on this. But yeah, sure, good luck with that. But the point is, it is so bad that now let's take a look what we have obviously in the front line. As you can see yourself, it's for yesterday. Oh yeah, we are nearing this 1 million killed in Ukraine, those of the armed forces of Ukraine. And if you take a look, essentially, which is the circumstantial evidence about what is happening in terms of the kill ratio, what can I say? Here it is. This is circumstantial evidence of the kill ratio. Just yesterday, Ukraine received 503 bodies during the deal on exchange of the bodies of the dead Ukrainian soldiers. Russia received 42 bodies. And the bodies of 503 dead Ukrainian soldiers were returned to the Ukrainian aid. According to Saraliv, the exchange took place on December 20th. So if you divide it, it's 1 to 12. So yeah, that's about the right kind of ratio. It's circumstantial evidence, but we already know that basically all results of those activities, so to speak, especially on the side of the Ukrainian armed forces and this, terrorist regime of Zelensky, they will start drafting starting on early 2025, 18-year-olds. So that will mean, if we look, and this is of course on the insistence of such people as Jake Sullivan or Anthony Blinken, and obviously whatever universe this, whatever the carcass of the human or rather subhuman Mr. Biden is existing, the guy who basically created all that. And that means the pool, genetic pool of the Ukraine will be over because Russians will kill all those 18-year-olds unless they surrender. And I want to point back to you, or rewind back to the greatest prose of them all. Not even arguably, it is probably the greatest of them all, and especially the greatest book about war. And this is, of course, Leo Tolstoy. And he describes the Borodino battle, which at that time in 1812 was the bloodiest battle in history of humanity. And it was lasted about 8 hours. They were just horrendous, you can look up those numbers. And he was writing about Napoleon. But while speaking about Napoleon, you can say at least about Napoleon that while he was definitely at some point of time, he lost completely his bearings, he was pretty, remember Toulon. Toulon was actually where young Napoleon started shooting artillery at, civilians. He at least had the tactical genius, no doubt about it. He had been very tactical, serious tactical genius. He wasn't strategic genius. And actually, Kutuzov outplayed him completely strategically and even operationally. But tactically, he was a genius. But here is the thing which applies only to him. But here you have the whole bunch of these Washington creatures who never experienced any difficulty in their lives, who never led any troops in their lives, who never basically risk their life for anything. They are pampered, good old boys from the Ivy League degree mills who know nothing and understand nothing. They just do their, can you imagine Jake Sullivan even leading their platoon somewhere or commanding let alone corvette, let alone destroyer? No, you cannot imagine that. And so if you discount this, basically not only discount, you subtract the Napoleon tactical genius, this is what you will see. And Mr. Tolstoy described it beautifully in his immortal classics. And here it is. And this is what have to be kept in mind. An adjutant came now to inform him, Napoleon, that the fire of 200 guns had been concentrated on the Russians as he had ordered, but that they still held their ground. Our fire is mowing them down by rows, but still they hold on, said the adjutant. They want more, said Napoleon in a hoarse voice. Sire, asked the adjutant who had not heard the remark. They want more, croaked Napoleon, frowning. Let them have it. Even before he gave that order, the thing he did not desire, and for which he gave the order only because he thought it was expected of him, was being done, and he fell back into this artificial realm of imaginary greatness. And again, as a horse walking a treadmill thinks it is going somewhere for itself, he submissively fulfilled the cruel, sad, gloomy, and inhuman role predestined for him. And not for that day and hour alone were the mind and conscious darkened of this man, on whom the responsibility for what was happening lay more than on all of others who took part in it. Never to the end of his life could he understand goodness, beauty, or truth, or the significance of his actions, which were too contrary to the goodness and truth, too remote from everything human for him ever to be able to grasp their meaning. He could not disallow his actions, beloved as they were by half of the world, and so he had to repudiate truth, goodness, and all humanity. This is description of the combined West. It has no moral, it has no humanity. And as such, well, as I already stated, it's gonna die, and it's already dying, and it will die by all kinds of means, including by the military mean, which is, of course, what can I say? Russians destroyed, basically, if you look attentively at the events of their on their front line, they're tearing the front apart. But then again, Russians are not in rush. They shouldn't be. I would do the same thing, if I would be them, and I would be Gerasimov and commanders on the of those armies there. They are waiting. What will be the response? And so, as such, the only thing which is left to them, because they repudiate any kind of things which are related to humanity, and they never had any honor. They have always supported. They always supported terrorism. They always supported whatever Mr. What's his name? Good Lord, it escaped my mind. Mike Pompeo stated, "We cheat, lied, we cheated, we stole." Yeah, that's the West. And they will try to do it. The problem for them is, as I already stated, they are not even in the same league militarily. And just to demonstrate to you, there are some very interesting news. First, Admiral Nahimov, completely, it's not just modernized, it's essentially was gutted through and through, and it's a brand new ship carrying enormously powerful weapons, hypersonic weapons too. It will start the launch of its brand new nuclear reactor, starting by the end of upcoming week. And then, of course, that's the other thing. Which is, of course, Arkhangelsk submarine is being getting ready to be enlisted into the Russian Navy. It is the fifth hull of the state-of-the-art submarines of the Project 885 Yasin M class, and it will be there, obviously, the present for the new year for the Russian Navy, and this is the Zircon carrier. So Russia is building the immensely powerful submarine fleet, state-of-the-art, brand new, and it carries weapons which no navy in the world can even touch. And that has to be kept in mind for those people who still believe that somehow United States can resupply some kind of the forces if it's in Europe. I mean, they have the other thing coming for that. And this is what I wanted to tell you today. For those people who are still interested about all those fake, well, they're not fake, I mean, they're real photos of the Yuzhmash, but they are taken somewhere like probably half year ago, if not the last year, with the damage by the Iskander and 3M14 caliber missiles to the Yuzhmash before it was attacked by Oreshnik. You can go to my blog and take a look at it, there. The explanations are given there. So we're still waiting for the real photos of the Yuzhmash. And, we probably will continue to wait them for a while now. And that's everything I wanted to tell you guys today before this weekend gets on the way in earnest. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on the Patreon or buy me a coffee too. And I would really appreciate this. So this is it for today. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.